one. Hello, everybody, and Nazi, and welcome to the Western eCrit powered by KISS and Zwift Community Live. My name is Jesper, Anker, and as always, I'm joined by the great Wesley Sulzberger. Burger? What are you?
Whatever you want me to be, mate.
Oh, you can be a cheeseburger.
But thanks very much. Thanks very much for introducing me there, Jesper. We had a wild race in the Eastern Series, so we had a really strong finish there by Pat Shaw, hitting out so early. He didn't have the aero power up time to perfection like the other guys, so he had a drafting one. So we saw Pat Shaw use that drafting one with about, I guess it was 800 meters out. Was it, Jasper? It was at least that.
About 800 meters out. It was fairly good.
Yeah, Ockerby responded about the 700-meter mark and then went over the top of him and managed to hold on just by the skin of his teeth, fighting off Dunn. So Aaron Dunn come through in second. So it was a Wolfpack 1-2 and bringing up for third. Who was third, actually? Third place was
a close sprint. So Linton Savatsky, I think, came into third place, but yeah. Oliver Jones was also close in fourth place.
Yeah, Jones. It was close between the last three there for the placing. So we had Ockerby just being caught almost on the line, and it looks like we're out of the gates here, and they're in amongst it here, Jasper. And 400, 500 watts
in the Western eCrit tonight. See who's hungry for more?
Oh, little bumblebees in there. My little bumblebees in there.
Whew.
Oliver Jones in amongst it. So Oliver Jones. It will definitely stir this race up. He likes to attack a lot and make sure that everyone gets a good shakedown, and likes to pace on very early as well. He's not afraid to go off the front early as well, Jones. Likes to make sure that these riders test the legs out, shake out. We see they're sitting around that 400 watts or more there now. So holding that now, dropping back down that 100 heart rate. Surely that's not right at 100 heart rate.
I was going to mention that. Dan Madden is a good friend of Ben Simpson, and I actually had the pleasure of meeting them in Sydney. And I saw Madden out there at like 96 beats per minute out the gate, and I was like, maybe he's doing what I'm doing. Whenever I get into suffer mode, I take off my heart rate monitor because I don't want to see what my heart rate is, because I beat about 200 beats per minute, which that's tough, guys. That hurts a lot. It's like not even fun.
We see that Jones is not sitting at 200 beats. He's at that 165 now, 500 watts straight out of the holes here at 90 cadence. So right on the money here with that cadence, nice cadence. He's on top of the gear, and he's going to settle in now and sort of. I reckon he's probably one that could probably just hold him off here for a fair while, Jasper. Do you think who else would go across? Keel?
Jeff. It has to be Jeff Keel, but I don't think Jeff is too worried about this. First of all, you would assume he spent a lot of energy in the Eastern eCrit because he finished with the front group. I think he came 5th or 6th in the end. So going after 1 kilometer of racing, I think he'll just sit in and he'll say, Oliver Jones is a Kiwi. He will not score points. He can win the race. I'm Margin, Ben Simpson, Richard Cook, Richard Gills, Ciano, etc. But Jones, I mean, he could TT all the way to the finish line, and it'd be a great workout for him. The bunch doesn't really seem to care that much.
No, and they probably won't, obviously, because of those point situation, because Jones, if you weren't aware, is a Kiwi, so he's a New Zealander, so he is not eligible for the points in this series. But the other riders back here are, so they are aware of that, so they're probably not, paying too much attention to him out in front. But Kia would probably be the main man to try and bridge that gap across to him. But he's not opting for that now. He's probably had a race earlier also, and probably doesn't want to damage the legs too much. Make sure he saves them and has a little bit of a dig later on in the race. What do you reckon, Jesper?
It's the third race of the day for Jeffrey. I think he's allowed a chill, sit in, and then cover any big attacks from because if you look right now at the standings as they're updated, you got Ben Simpson in first place with about 100 points down to Mikey H, which we've actually not seen Mikey in quite a while out on course. Uwe Walsh in third, Cook, Mr. John O'Bates in fifth. Richard Gills is up there as my TV is almost turning off. You've got Richard Gills behind there, and Jeffrey is at 120 points. Jeff has raced 6 races, and he's won every single one. Safe to say he'll make his way up into the top 3 eventually.
Yeah, and that's what these riders do. They, if they're coming late in the series, they keep chipping away. There are points on offer each week, and the points don't drop down that much either. We're 20 out in front for the win, and then 19, 18, so it drops down slowly through those points. So these riders keep rocking up week after week to make sure that they start to creep up into that top the position of being eligible to go for the final round in Melbourne on the 19th September. So these riders will be competing, and there is a wild card as well. And I know that one rider particularly from the Eastern Series, Nadzie, the secret firefighter from Wolfpack Taz, is very keen on that, Jasper.
He is. So what should your hashtag be? Wildcard for Nazi? Hashtag free Nazi?
I think wildcard for Nadzie's already been established by Nadzie himself, so I think that's going to keep going. I've given him a retweet on it, so if you think Nadzie deserves a wildcard entry, then give him plenty of ride-ons when he's out on course, and also give him plenty of feedback on Twitter. So Nadzie is on Twitter, and I'll get his handle for you. Just make sure I give out the right handle for Nadzie, so I'll come back to you that on Jasper.
Oh, Nadzie trying his best to smooth talk his way into the wild card. The wild card will be decided, I think, by the KISS organization. So all the smooth talking, it might have to be directed in that direction if you are the secret fighter.
All right. Nadzie, hashtag Glenn Knight loves Glenn Knight. So let's see if that starts to work for Nadzie. So Nadzie's handle on Twitter is Nadsy, so Nadsy 2181. So I'm not sure what the 2181 means.
Obviously the year he was born.
I'm sure he'll update me on that later. So 2181, Nadzie 2181.
It could be the street credentials, part of the local Zwift gang, you know. Who knows?
No, well, he is under the secret firefighter on Twitter, so it may be some sort of logic for firefighting 2181. I'll have to get back to you on that. I am a volunteer firefighter myself, but I am not aware of that code. Yes.
Talk us through that decision. And thank you very much, by the way.
No worries. Yeah, so when I stopped cycling, I was interested in joining the fire brigade. So first thing was to volunteer. Haven't followed through with joining the actual fire brigade. Did actually some tryouts for it. Didn't get through, but still a volunteer firefighter and still enjoying it.
Did you mention your FTP is high?
No, that didn't come into play. We actually had to do a shuttle run. So I was doing a fair bit of running earlier to prepare for that, stop-start with the shuttle run. But I was only just sort of getting into a jog, and then the test was over. Really?
So essentially you were doing a triathlon. You were already having the water in your hands, you're running, and then if you're like, hey guys, I can cycle my bike, does that work? I mean, if you ever need some extra water.
If you saw me swim, I think you'd understand I'm good at duathlons. So we see Keel dropping a little bit off the back here now. So there was a bit of a gap there. Keel pretty confident in himself because he was sitting a little bit further back there and realised those riders were starting to drop the wheel and has bridged that gap now up to the rest of the peloton here. So we do see another Aussie hump day rider there. I can't quite make out the name. That's Patterson? Neil Patlaw. So Neil Patlaw in amongst there, making his way up now. So he's using this little bit of downhill to move back towards the front, keeping that pressure on the pedals. So whenever there's that little lull in the bunch and you're caught back, that's when you want to start to move up.
Well, it looks like Oliver Jones has been caught out from the front. He should be back in the action now. And if this is the first time you're watching the Western eCrit, it is a reduced bunch compared to the Eastern eCrit, meaning sometimes the pace can be a bit lower, meaning that it's going to be a more explosive finale. And it looks like today's race could shape up to be just that, as we see Anthony Ciano also up here near the front. Western eCrit will bring, as it stands right now, I think 3 riders to the finale, as Oliver Jones goes once again off the front. They'll bring 3 riders to the finale, and it's heating up near the front. But Ben Simpson is currently looking to be fairly set with 7 races to go to the finale. I know Ben Simpson is in touch with you. How's Ben Simpson doing so far?
Yeah, Ben's doing really well. He's been very consistent, making sure he rocks up each one of these races. But this last probably 2 to 3 weeks, he's really stepped it back up again and made sort of that stamp on it that he's leading the points, but he's in here and amongst it and placing in the races as well. So Ben is really making sure that he's up there and amongst these races and not getting not getting a little bit psyched out, because there are some other of these races, Keel and that joining this race that are noticeably a lot stronger than these riders that originally started in the series early on. But he's in there with a fight and making sure that he shows himself as well. So a big ride on there to Ben Simpson.
Actually, as we were mentioning him, there was a little break going off the front. Ciano, Jones, Keel, and Simpson Had a 2-second gap, but that was quickly bridged back because the riders behind were not happy with that cut. And we're going to see a lot of that on the course here. We're going to see a lot of attacks from Oliver Jones, who trying to do the double today, racing both the Western and the Eastern eCrit. So we're seeing Oliver Jones, the Bumblebee, transforming out there into the attack once again. It's, by the way, can I mention the green screen behind you? It really it fills out the room.
That is the Watopia grass I'm just laying back on here. So just enjoying the enjoying the being part of Watopia Island here. No, I do have a green screen behind me. We will have that actually hooked up next week, so I might even look a little bit more pro like Jesper.
Bit more pro. I mean, it is hot in here in the volcano. Are you really sure you want to come in here?
Yeah, maybe I can't handle the heat, so yeah, I'm not one for the kitchen.
There's a bit of, even though I'm getting out of shot, there's a bit of room like right over here for you, Wes. You can also come in here in the volcano.
Well, I just heard the outside there. Looks like that's the fire brigade. So Nadsy's probably just finished the racing. Was watching this racing, tuned in, and is probably out on call right now. So big shout out to Nadsy, saving lives as well as Zwifting.
And kittens. Let's not forget saving kittens.
Mate, it's not always like the movies. They're always rescuing kittens out of trees.
Well, I've never been a volunteer firefighter. I don't have the guts to do that. So.
We see Ciano back up here and amongst it now. So Ciano is quite a fast finisher. So he usually likes to look after his legs, sort of plays a bit of policeman role, make sure that nothing is too dangerous. And if something is dangerous, he'll use that extra. Well, it looks like Ciano's throwing some hooks here early on in the move. Look at those hooks. I think we're going to have to go to the race jury on this one. I think that if going back to the Tour de France a couple of weeks back, I think that would be rubbed out of the race for that one.
I saw a few elbows being thrown there. He definitely had, despite the elbows being thrown, that gentleman had some awesome bike handling skills. I've never seen anyone save a crash like that before, just saying.
Yeah, just saying. We see Jones go off the front here. Now, he decided that he doesn't want to be part of this argy-bargy. He wants to make a bit of a break for it here, out on his own. And he looks like he's going to continue on with this. There are a couple of riders stringing out behind here now, trying to bridge that gap. We can see that the peloton's strung right out now, so the pace is truly on here. Look at the explosions here. Ciano's back up there, closing that gap to Cook here. And we do see a lot of the other riders here. Walsh has been caught back a little bit, so these riders really going to have to push hard to stay up in there. Simpson now towards the tail of the end of there. So Simpson's going to have to start to put those watts down now. Make sure he holds on the back of that there. Keel really suffering now after that early work in the Eastern Series.
He's dropped off the back. This is very unlike Jeff, but 3 races in the span of 20 hours. 3 races that you're expected to go all out in. It's really not that easy. So we also got Madden on the back here trying to get back. We see an Aero Power being popped on the left. 10Ks into the race. Out of the 33 kilometers they're going to be racing in total, racing is definitely on, and we can thank Oliver Jones for putting some spice on the race. He's really been lighting it up. We had Ben Van Dam enter a few races to throw a spanner in the works. We've had Aaron Dunn try to win last week. I think he entered as well. It's not just going to be a walk in the park for Jeffrey. He's going to have to work for it tonight.
Yeah, we have seen that. You know, some of these riders that are joining this series and coming in from the other series across, it's not a walk-up start, you know, because there are a lot of factors involved in this. You can have dropouts, so you can call that neutral service up to help you. But there are some other strong races in here, and they will keep going all the way to the line. You know, some of these races know they don't have the power of other races, but they continue to fight on. So that is awesome. Right on to all those guys. And also, we do see Rupert Walsh now up the front here. Rupert's been very active, and you've always given a good shout out to Rupert.
Always. The fact that Rupert went all the way to Thailand and was so concerned about his position in the overall standings that he found a local watt bike studio. He did not finish the race because they didn't have the almighty fans that you actually need to be able to finish a race like this. Still, that takes guts. And I've just heard in my ears now here that we've actually got 200 people tuning in over on the Mixer page. So if you're tuning in and you have no clue what you're watching, what are they watching, Wes?
We are watching a bike race here, but they are powered by real bicycles. So they are hooked up to their trainers, their home trainer. So you have to have a trainer with a smart sort of software compatible into that. So it's called a smart trainer. So you can also race with a power meter in your bicycle on a dumb trainer or a trainer without an education. But it is quite a spectacle to see that these avatars are powered by people in their garage, on their bikes, in their lounge room, wherever their setup is. They are powering these avatars racing on the screen. So these are live races here. So people are pedaling these bikes, and that's transferring across on the left-hand side of the screen. You can see their heart rate, their cadence. So the cadence, how many pedal strokes per minute they're doing, their RPM. So these riders are really getting their workout on here. So we do see them rock up each week, and that is what's going on here, Jesper.
Sorry for throwing you under the bus. I know you were busy accumulating data on the other computer, so I saw you. I missed that. Thank you, though, for being right on point with what you're watching. eCrit series, it is the gem right now of online racing down in Australia. I'm sure we'll be back next year as well with the eCrit. It's been such a massive success. And I think next year it won't be 6 months worth of racing. I hope at least, because 6 months, it's been intense for these people racing week in and week out to try and stay at the top of the podium. Could you do that, Wes? Could you set aside other affairs every Tuesday for 6 months?
I could. I've since I've come on from the eCrit, I've made sure I've kept my Tuesday clear every time to broadcast this race. It is quite fun, and broadcasting this is really fun. I really enjoy it, but also racing this I think would be really fun. I've raced a few of the KISS races myself, and I found the community in all of the racing online on Zwift is just really fun, really competitive. And after this racing, like you say, Jesper, a lot of the Aussies like to have a bit of a chin wag afterwards and type it out when they're able to, because obviously when they're racing here, it's quite hard to get a bit of a typing out. We probably will see a couple of cheeky people try to type something out, but most of the time these races, it's that full on that they can't have a chat to each other. So they're having a good old chingwag after it. So yeah, it's a really good community. Everyone's involved, and it's a good atmosphere.
So just to elaborate on what Wes is saying, he used to race KISS races, but then he retired from Zwift racing because he was tired of getting caught in my afterburner whenever I leave him out there on the field with no hope whatsoever. When are you going to be back racing, Wes? Are you actually going to take the start line in one of these eCrit series, like races?
Well, we were saying wildcard for Nadsy, but I'm starting to think about it now. No, I'm just joking. Nadsy for the wild card. I'm happy doing the broadcast and the commentating. I will start to get more involved with some of the rides in Zwift, though. I'd really like to make sure I plan some of these times. I'd like to get involved with the Aussie Hump Day. I think that's a really good event, and people should definitely support that, the midday of the week one. So that's on tomorrow night. I'd really like to get more involved in the Zwift riding. So I'll make sure that happens, Jesper. I'll follow it up. Hold me accountable.
Oh, I will definitely. If I won't hold you accountable, the viewers will. Always. You can never run away from your fans, Wes. But what exactly is the Aussie Hump Day ride? What exactly is that's happening tomorrow?
So the Aussie Hump Day ride, so it's a midweek ride. So all of the Aussie guys knock off work, from the midday of the week. So they get on there, jump on your trainer. And like I said, to those people that aren't aware what's going on here, these riders are hooked up to their bicycles on a stationary trainer. So they're not moving anywhere, but they are virtually moving. So you see them moving along here. They're sitting at that 165, 180 heart rate. So these riders are really humming along here, and they make sure that they really hurt themselves pretty much, Jesper. They make sure they give each other a good amount of thrashing, and then Jones is probably the main one. They are not on control. We cannot look. I think if anyone was on control, it would be Jono Bates, because that guy, when I'd say attack, Jono would attack. So Jono Bates is in amongst this series. I haven't seen his name up there tonight, Jasper. He's in amongst it tonight. I haven't seen the name pop up.
Was on the start list. I've not actually seen him in the front group. The attacks may have just shelled him out today. Let's go further back. Simpson is here. Madden has been dropped. Jono Bates is 2 minutes down. Not his day, and he let me in a little secret. Next week he'll be in Bali, so that's a lot of points out the back.
Right, so he's not gonna try and see if there's someone with a smart trainer in Bali.
Well, I'd say though, when you're on a family vacation, take the time off. It can be stressful to race the eCrit every Tuesday. 20 points or a good family vacation. Take the family vacation. The eCrit will be back here for the next 7 weeks almost.
Well, fair enough. Give Jono Bates a ride on. So Jono has been really involved in this series. You know, he come with an injury at the start of the year with a broken arm and said this has rekindled his cycling. So if anyone's tuned in now, logged in, watching this, make sure you click on that big like button and give Jono Bates a good ride on. So that little thumb up, that'll go above his head there and he'll get that ride on from everyone. So these riders, when you do give a ride on, for those people who aren't aware of what's happening here, for when you do give a ride on through the Zwift link, mobile link app, you are giving a kudos. So a big kudos. There we go. Just saw a kudos go to Sicano. So Sicano just got a kudos from someone, and that rider will be notified who it was. And I think Jesper, my man over here, has just give a ride on.
It was.
And it looks like Jesper.
It was this guy who gave him a ride on. Jesper Anker. Hey,
Anker! pull up the anchors. Here comes Jesper.
So Jono Bates started with a broken hand. Tonight he'll have a broken heart, but I'm sure he'll be back in 2 weeks' time, back trying to get some points. He's really come through. He's really been your fan favorite. Just because you have a weird taste in music and his name matches to the beats you like, you really just taking a liking to him. So.
Oh yeah, the old Hocus Pocus. Yeah, that one's come. I remember that one from the old carnival shows. They used to have that on the G Whizzer rides. The old Hocus Pocus playing. But yeah, no, Jono Bates has really come on in this series, and it's awesome to see that some of these riders, that are really using this to get their love back, not for just indoor cycling, but cycling in general. So that's what Zwift can create, a really good community for people that are all like-minded and really into bikes. And some of the people, I'd like to hear anyone in this group who's not a bike rider but has jumped in part of this series. You know, are you a rower, runner, but have come into this series late on it, crossed over from another sport? So just comment on the Zwift Oz page if you have come across from another sport, or the KISS racing page also. Yes. Road Race, KISS Road Race. Thanks for the backup there, Jesper. So KISS Road Race, jump on there. Let us know if you've come across from another sport, what sport it is. Was it darts, lawn bowls? Was it something just really obscure, or was it something a little bit more athletic? I'm sure it would help if it was, but if not, let us know.
What's that? It's called the America's Cup, I think it is. Is that like sailboat, whatever, that's pedal powered? What's that sport called?
Oh, I don't think the America's Cup's pedal powered. That's the sailing. Yeah,
there's definitely a sport right now that was on TV where, like, it's a sailboat or whatever, but it's powered by pedals and it's like lifted off the water, and you have to like go and like make a turn, come back, make another turn, go over the finish line.
Oh no, that sounds like something that Zwift should start to look into. So across those tunnels, you can either go under the tunnel or over the top. That could be something we're looking at there, Jesper. I'm not quite sure what you're on about there. You have a search with that. I'll get back to the racing.
It's called the America's Cup. It's called the America's Cup. It's pedal powered. They use their legs to now push these like massive boats around. Just clarification. Just no loose ends here.
Okay, good job. We got that clarified here. So we see a little bit of a gap move away here again, and it looks like Keel is towards the back of that group again now. So we see a couple of riders go at the front here. Doesn't look like any Australians in that. Sicano's going across to that little bit of a move there now. So there is one Aussie on the back there. I'm just trying to make that out. So that is...
What is that on here? There's Sicano and there's Lighter Mode, who was the guy who was getting thrown a little elbow earlier in the race.
Ah, Lighter Mode. So Lighter Mode is up here amongst. I haven't seen that name before. So we see Cook here also. So good work, Lighter Mode. Give Lighter Mode a ride on there for joining in this action. So we'd like to see him keep up in and around that pointy end also. So that's really good. We see the Aussie Hump Day towards the back of the bunch there. So Rupert Walsh is also starting to drop back a little bit here. So these riders and we see Keel actually come up here now. So these riders are just getting a bit of a shakedown from those other foreigners up through that tunnel. Wasn't expecting that extra little increase in pace, and they've actually dropped back, but then comfortably roll back up the front here, Jesper.
Do you ever think the racers are using the eCrit podcast as like their advantage? Whenever we have like a very elusive argument or like decision and everyone's listening in, somebody goes, "Oh, now's my time to attack." They're all like starstruck or whatever.
Oh, I reckon there's definitely when the call out some of those attacks, like Jones is going to go now. So But no, we have seen that with Pat Shaw when we called him out earlier, saying that he's really using this as training to pick himself up and is really targeting the eCrit series. And then we did see him go off the front directly after that. So I'm pretty sure Pat was tuned into the cast. So yeah, with those shout outs, it is encouraging people to lay the smack down on those pedals in their garage, in their lounge room, wherever they're set up. Is anyone outside? Is anyone outside on their balcony?
Jeff is
outside. He's
on the patio.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that. Is that on the Zwift Oz page? I have to have a look at that.
Not yet, no. It'll be there afterwards. So last night's race, Vision versus Team X, 4 of the riders from each team had webcams, live webcams that you could watch during the race. Jeff was at 1:30 at night on the patio with lights around him and like mosquitoes buzzing around.
I was going to say, you would have to have the AeroGuard on.
Ah.
You would have to get a sponsor for AeroGuard for the racing if he's going to race these night races, because you get killed by mosquitoes here in Australia.
You would, you really would. The 5 days we were there, it was like summer. You get up in the mountains. It's not, well, mountains. I'll talk about that's more New Zealand, really. There's some beautiful, beautiful scenery down under. If only there was some like cycling tour company or something that could show us around.
Yeah, I mean, if there's only this beautiful, magical place called Tasmania, where you could ride around on, on route tours. Oh, hold on. Never been to Tasmania. Well, when you come down, I have to make sure that you don't take off straight away, Jesper, and I have to bring you around down Tassie and give you a tour around Tassie and show you some of the cycling tours I've got planned.
Did you know the Danish soon-to-be queen is actually from Tasmania? Queen Mary?
Yes, Queen Mary. Yep, we hold Mary very high. She is royalty, not just over there, but also down here in Tasmania. Really? So, yes, really. Yep. No, I'm very joking, but we certainly hold her high, and we do play off that, and it has been quite good for Tasmania, the publicity out of that. With Mary being married off to the King of Denmark, so that's pretty cool.
Soon to be king. We're in the same situation as England. Our queen just seems to be living on forever and forever and forever, and whatever she's drinking, I'd like a cup of that too, because I'd like to cover the eCrit for the same amount of time that they're living. So yeah, get in touch, royalty.
Yep,
come on.
That's it. No, we would definitely welcome you down to Tassie, mate. If you come across to Melbourne, it's only another 45-minute flight down to Tassie, and you'd have to take your bike with you. If you don't have a bike, I'll probably hook you up with a bike, Jesper, and make sure that we can get a nice ride around. I'll show you all the back roads around Tasmania, and it is beautiful riding down here.
Oh, man, last time we rode together, I didn't even last an hour. Still nightmares.
Yeah, I think there was other factors into play there, Jesper. You did have a rather late night, I think, that night. So that's probably why you didn't back up too well the next morning.
Segue. If I ever go to Tasmania, I expect the entire WP task team to stand ready. I want to see Aaron Dunn. I want to see Nancy. I want to see Anker. I want to see them all out on the road. And I'd love to just do a ride and have a chill talk, because they've been really cool for the duration of the eCrit series.
Yep, the Wolfpack Taz crew have been very strong through this series, and we've even seen a few of them, like you said earlier, cross over into this Western series and race the second race. If some of them had any problems or dropouts, power outs, have been jumping on to the next race and making sure they just get that fix of this eCrit series. That it is a little bit of addictive, I guess, with these riders. If they don't have their Tuesday night racing, then they sort of get a little bit weary. They've got their Aussie hump day ride the next day, but they really want that hit out on the Tuesday night.
You know how
Tuesday
everyone
night
wakes up and they put on the filtered coffee, or like at least old people do. Nowadays it's like, oh, we gotta have a nice espresso and everything. You used to put coffee on the pot. That's how the eCrit works for these guys. Before they go to bed, they've got to get the eCrit in. Once they're done, take a shower, and they go straight to bed. Done. Unless they win, they'll be buzzing of adrenaline.
Yeah. And some of these riders are saying that they're popping gels and caffeine and all sorts of things like during this racing. So it would be very hard to switch off, because it is quite late racing. not for Kiel. I mean, Kiel races at 1 o'clock in the morning, but that's a different story. But for most of these races, they have to go to work the next day. They have to get up early. So yeah, this is full commitment here to get amongst this series racing at 9 o'clock at night, especially if you're from the Eastern time zone, racing on the WA time zone. That couple of hours difference. So for me now, it's 9:30, at night. For down here in Tasmania. So these races here, these races guys racing now are really, full commitment to them for racing, so late at night. But that's what this eCrit series does. It really creates a community here, and everyone wants to be part of it. And they all want to give each other a good flogging, really, when it comes down to it. They want to make sure that they hurt each other and dig in those watts, those watt bombs and watt bazookas, which we saw a couple of weeks back with Cy Richardson joining from GCN. There was a few watt bazookas that day. That was so far, I think, Jesper, the quickest lap splits we've ever had around the Watopia circuit.
It's also the most fun to cover from a spectator's point of view, because it seemed like everyone had that extra gear since they had, YouTube celebrity and past pro Cy Richardson out on course. Everyone wanted to beat Cy, and Cy wanted to beat everyone, so it created this dynamic of constant attacks. And Cy was suffering, we were suffering. I was walking back and forth. The racers were suffering. It was really fun to watch, and I do hope we. I want to redo it. I want to do it all again, but I know it's difficult to use the very, very limited time that a YouTube celebrity like Cy Richardson has available. But speaking of gels, what's your favorite gel, Wes? What was your go-to gel when you were a pro racer?
Oh, go-to gel. Well, we had to use whatever the team had, whatever the team sponsor was. But I would always usually save my caffeine gels for the last part of the race. Didn't want to light up too early, so that's a little hot tip. Make sure you save that caffeine gel. You don't want to be popping it. I did a couple of times, though, get them mixed up in the pockets. I'd have my certain array of where I'd arrange things in my pockets. One day, didn't quite read the label right. I thought, geez, I need a gel early on in this race. I was going with a break. Thought my heart rate was pumping a bit because I'd been off the coffee and caffeine for a while to make sure I got a little bit more of a hit with the effect. And yeah, I had a caffeine gel out of the hole. So make sure you don't do that.
So how was that, by the way? Because I think everyone out there has a arrangement in their pockets. For me, the middle pocket is my phone, and you got gels, and you got bars, and fruit. How does it work for you?
So usually with a racing, obviously you don't have to have your mobile phone with you, but you'd for cakes and light sort of things, I'd put in the center pocket. Outside ones, I'd have usually on the left side I'd have the bars, and on the right side I'd have the gels. I'd have the right side gels so I could easily grab them with my strong hand, right-handed. Make sure I can grab hold of the gels and get them out quickly if I need them.
Do you ever miss that? Being a pro and having your pinning on the number, putting in the gels, walking up to the start line, signing on, having the commentator go, Wesley Sulzberger.
No, it's funny. I didn't really think too much of the time. It is pretty cool to think back on all of the races that I got to race as a very young age as well. I got to do the Tour de France at 23 years of age. So yeah, so it's pretty cool to think back on it now. But I don't. I'm happy where I'm at now, and I don't really. Not that I miss it. I miss the competitive side of racing. The process for me was as big as the race. So preparing and making sure all my training, nutrition, everything was perfect. Recovery, that was a big part for me. I really loved training. Some of these other pros and former pros, that I know that come through the same generation, are very similar in that aspect. Simon Clark really loves the process more than anything. I went through the AOS with Simon right through at the same time period. And he really loved the process and was really quite calculated how he broke everything down. So, I'd say it's a process of working towards something, but that's what I sort of have missed. But I've changed my direction and put my focus elsewhere off the bike now, and that's why I'm talking here with you, Jesper.
Smart choice, some would say. But it's funny that you mentioned that because that's changed nowadays. I saw an article quoting a Dutch World Tour sports directive, and he said, old generation was focused on, shredding kilos, getting as fit as possible, the process as you're mentioning. Nowadays, talent is just focusing on whether or not their shoes and their socks match. Do you recognize that as
Yeah,
well?
I do recognise that. Back when I was racing in Tasmania, just locally, and then like I did everything I could to make sure I made the TIS, the Tasmanian Institute of Sport. And I really wanted to make sure that I made that. And there was a lot of pressure from my parents, actually, my dad, saying, if you get in the TIS, you get a bike for free, and I don't want to buy you one. So there was a bit of pressure on there from my parents to make sure I got in the TIS. But I really, I really was just so happy to have, once I got in the TOS, I got a bike, I got all this equipment, I got shoes, helmet. And I think back at the time, we were the first institute to get all of those things provided. Now it's just standard. Any team, even, amateur club team, anything, it's standard. You have a kit, you have helmets and other sponsors and things. And a lot of these kids, like you said, are just sort of matching the helmets and, well, what light wheels do you have, and all this sort of thing? What carbon wheels? Back then, I was just happy to have a ride in a team, and all these things were just an added bonus. But now these riders and young guys coming through are expecting everything. They just expect this. It's just a given that they'll be given all this stuff for free, which is a little bit different back to my heydays.
I just love having the experience on here, Wes. It's not very often you get to talk to riders of your caliber, having raced and finished the Tour de France. And it's just cool having somebody to actually share that knowledge. Somebody as open and as honest as you are, Wes. So thank you, and also thank you, Papa Wes, for pushing you to get that bike.
Yeah, it was a big push from Dad. I was using my brother's bike, so I was on the old Cannondale CAD 3. So Cannondale CAD 3, still at home. It's It was in the Seiko colours. Was my brother's bike, so I had the hand-me-down, but it was only a 53. So I was growing out of the 53, and I needed a 54 or a 55. So that's why I had to make the TOS team. And there I went on TOS team to the AOS, so I got another bike for free. And then I got another couple of more bikes for free from some pro teams after that. So it all worked out in the end. And now we are back to the racing, Jesper. Back to this eCrit series. We see Keel go up and amongst it here now. So Keel has been round the front here now. Before he was sitting a fair way back. So now it's getting towards the end of this race here now. We know it's that pointy end. He's starting to feature here. Jones with the Bumblebee outfit up there. Will he fly like a bee, or is it sting like a bee? Jasper will know that answer. Jasper, do you think that he will do a late sneaky attack here, or will he save it?
First of all, you butchered that quote. For once, it wasn't me, but hey, Oliver Jones, we saw him go well in the Eastern eCrit. You would think he'd be depleted, and right about now would be that caffeine gel he'd be popping, but Oliver Jones versus Jeffrey Keel, I think those are the two juggernauts that'll be dueling it out, but we've been seeing the pace has been really up and down at some points. It's been really slow, then it's been crazy high, then really slow. Maybe they're just like listening in very keenly to what it's like to get free bikes for a living. Turn out, you just have to be a pro and you get free bikes. But it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. If you had to pick between the two horses tonight, Jeffrey or Oliver Jones, who would you pick, Wes?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd probably go Jones, actually. Yeah, because I just think Jones probably may have the edge over him tonight, because Keel did do a bit of work in the other racing, but so did Jones on that aspect. So yeah, but I'm still going to go Jones. I think Jones is going to have just a little bit of edge over him. Just by a bees, he's going to win it.
Just by a bees. On fire tonight, Wes, as always. But there are some new names in here, like Lidermod. I saw Beskevich, I thought his name was, is also in here. New names that come to the final end. They will either do really, really well, or they'll just disappear from the front 10 riders. And then, I mean, only time will tell how they'll go. So it'll be interesting to follow as they go in here. But we've got an attack from Lidermod himself, popping that featherweight. Actually, it's not. It is Berdovich rocking the Geelong cycling. How do you say that? Geelong? Is that correct?
Yeah, Geelong. Yep, Geelong. So, yep, that's down from Cadell Evans's way, Geelong. So that's where we have the Great Ocean Road Race down in Australia. So it is a little bit of a drive out of Melbourne. Very nice spot on the coast. And now we see him just dwindle back into that bunch. I don't know whether that was a bit of a shakedown, or is that all he had left, but he's still making sure he stays in that pack now. So bit of a ride on there for a newcomer. I haven't seen that name in there before. So Berdovich.
Am I correct? They had the World Championships in Geelong once?
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So they had the World Championships in Geelong, and Alan Davis actually finished third in those World Championships. So I was actually part of the team for that. And it's quite a solid. Yeah, it's quite a solid course around there. So Alan Davis did a really good job getting around that circuit. It was quite hilly, but it was hilly, but at the same time, it was a sprinter's race. So Tor Hushoff won that race, actually.
Oh man, that just brings back so many memories. It must have for you as well, but like Alan Davis, that was back when I was like kindergarten almost.
Yeah, back when little Jesper was playing with blocks and building them up like my son at the moment. So yeah, that's pretty funny to think back. It doesn't seem that long ago for me. Only when you start to say that sort of thing, I'm like, oh yeah, that was like what 2000 and what was that 2005
or something?
No, it was 2010 or I think it might have been 2010.
Why do you think about it? Final lap, everybody! We gotta have that ridiculous cowbell with Zwift stickers on it. Ring us, we've got 3Ks to go. What year was it? Anyway, let us know. We're in Mixer, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you're watching. I just know that Tor Hushoff is an awesome bike rider, and Alan Davis in his own right. I mean, you have had some great sprinters from Australia. McEwen, Baden Cook, Davis, and we're about to see the sprinters duke it out right here in Course West.
We are about to see these riders sprinted out, so I reckon it's going to be a battle out here between Jones and Keel, but there also are those new names in here, so we might see some fireworks here. Do they know how? Oh, we see Keel going out early here. I was about to say, do they know how to use the power-ups to perfection? So those aero power-ups, have they saved them in the race? That's some of these other new riders. Are they, seasonal Zwifters? Are they new to the scene? Because they really need to know how to use those power-ups to get that most out of their racing here. Like you said, if you don't have the aero power-up, you are in trouble.
Fun fact, Jeffrey Keel is actually of South African descent, I believe. He's got a South African accent that he speaks in. And it sounds so funny with the Australian slang, whatever, while he's also got the South African way of speaking. It is, I hope we get to see him in Melbourne, because just having him on the microphone, you'll be like, what?
Yeah, that's going to be cool. Like out of all the accents, I'd probably say South African's one of my favorite accents to listen to. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, we'll be interested to hear that. And also watch Keel race, because he's quite a racer. Gets in there and make sure he mixes it up. So Keel, right on, mate, and let's get ready for this sprint now. Watch that bumblebee flying around there, because he will try to sting you.
The thing about it is, Keel has raced 6 races in this eCrit, and he's won every single race. If Oliver Jones beats him tonight, and he finishes second, he still wins, because he's the only Australian. So this is going to be a tough one if you're Ben Simpson, if you're Leidermott, if you are Berdovich out of Geelong. Nonetheless, Western eCrit is about to shape up. We've got 6 races left after this one tonight. A month and a half left of racing. eCrit is shaping up. 1.5 Ks to go now. So they're about to go underneath that imaginary flamme rouge in the Volcano circuit. This will be most likely the final time they'll be on the Volcano circuit in the eCrit series. We'll be on Richmond. We'll be on London. I can't wait to see as much as I love this course, I can't wait to see them shake it up a tiny bit with the courses.
Yeah, and we see Walsh up there now too. So we haven't spoke about Walsh as well. He'd be definitely one up there to try and round up that podium, if not try and go for the win himself. So Walsh has got a good finish on him, and we've seen that before in this Watopia circuit. I think Walsh is definitely featured up there. I think he was either second, or I don't think he won one, because I think Keel was away, obviously, solo that time. But I'm pretty sure that Walsh has been second on this circuit before, so he's right up the front there, making sure that he's in amongst it and keeping up on those heels of Jones and Keel. But now we see this last part here, Jesper. We're going to cross back over to you, Jesper, and let you wind this up. Here we go. We see Jones start to go now.
Back. We've got Jones on the front. We got G Moore, a newcomer as well, at the front. Not popping a power up just yet, but this is a long sprint. Anthony Scianna, we haven't really done him justice today. He's been out there racing hard, and this could be the day he's going to be on the top spot on the podium. He is currently the strongest Australian, but he's got the draft power
Look
up.
at that.
Oliver Jones second behind him, and now Jeff with the arrow. Is that arrow going to be stronger than the draft? They're side by side. Scianno's up there. Oliver Jones is up there. It's Oliver Jones.
Come on.
Takes over Scianno. Keel is second behind Oliver. It looks like Oliver will take first. Jeff second, Scianno third. But that in the overstanding means that Jeff once again takes all 20 points. Sienna takes 19. Well done to everyone racing. That was a weird race to say, really. Like, weird. Like, this felt like a fast, like, blink of an eye, it was over. But there were so many attacks, yet there were none attacks. What do you make of this, Wes?
Yeah, yeah, we had a lot of stop starting in the race. There wasn't a lot of a lot of control with it there. It was sort of that stop starting and that flow was really broken down in this race. But that working to the likes of the sprinters there. So really good race. Well done for everyone tuning in. Great job to those new riders coming in amongst this series. So obviously it's going to be tough to pick up enough points to jump into the top 3. But there's no time like the present to get involved in this series, get involved in part of this community, and it's good experience also for the other races on Zwift. You can keep learning. If you're unfamiliar with Zwift, then keep learning through this racing. Like Jones is doing here, he's doing almost like his apprenticeship through this races, would you say, Jesper?
Oh, yeah, he's definitely making a name for himself. And with the Dimension Data Swift Academy coming up, it doesn't matter where you are from in the world, as long as you're under 23 and you've got the watts to back it up, go for it. And I'm hoping we'll see Oliver Jones. It'd be really cool to see him among the 10 finalists in Cape Town, but actual Swift Academy starting September 1st. Enrollment starts today, so get involved. Anyway, Wes, this has actually been a really cool eCrit broadcast, because not only did we get to know the riders, we got to know about you, your gels, the past, the trading, everything. Thank you very much for sharing all that. Will you be back next week, same time?
No worries. I'll be back same time, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the Eastern Series and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Western Series. But thanks very much for having me on, Jesper. It's been great chatting away, and great job to all the racers tonight. Kudos to Jones, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, I missed. Anyway, guys.